Like, so if
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of Sex Talk. My name is Irene Chiza Onyango, your host, and today we have, of course, Carol is here, Nakazwe, is the columnist of Sex Talk in the Observer, but on my immediate right is Darren Cheine, a renowned sports journalist. For us who love sports, we know the name. And he'll give us, but he is a husband, most importantly. Yes, and he'll give us other details when he speaks. Then next to him is Nicholas Bamlanzeki, a writer for The Observer. He works with The Observer in so many capacities, but he is also a husband. So we are mainly going to talk about sex to people who understand what we mean. They may be young men, but at least they're doing it right. Yes, because we know they're doing it right. So yeah, that's us. So today our discussion is going to center on who initiates the sex. Not who does, who initiates the sex. So who initiates the sex?
Does it even matter? But if I go first, I think in Uganda we have kind of written it somewhere that it has to be the man's job. So if the man is not interested, or if he doesn't initiate, the sex doesn't happen in many marriages. And for me, I believe that is wrong, and that's where many problems start. Not just for women, but even the woman who tries to initiate is looked at a certain way. And that needs to be debunked. Because I can have needs when my husband doesn't.
At that particular time or that particular day?
Yes.
Nicholas, what do you think?
Yeah, I would like to agree with Carol. Initiation of sex shouldn't be tagged to gender. I mean, if both of us are married and, need arises on one side, talk to me, I'll act accordingly. Then also, if I want, I'll act in a way that, will initiate. So it doesn't have to be me initiating all the time.
But you're the man.
Yes, I'm the man, but, if I'm not in need, I'll sit back and relax. I won't be able to understand if you want it or not. Yeah.
And because he will sit back and relax, and many women are not programmed to initiate, they don't even know what to do. And there are so many things a woman does and men think, she was weird yesterday.
But when they were trying to send
that was her way of initiating.
So that
she was so quarrelsome yesterday.
Should we ask for it? Because Nicola said, tell me, speak. Do I talk or do I do some things?
Well, for starters, if anyone is watching this,
I hear disclaimer coming.
The fact to it, it's me. Unfortunately, or fortunately, on a platform that is quite unorthodox for me. But special thanks for having me, and in great part because I was his best man.
Wow, that's great.
And so to just start right there, I don't think it's scripted anywhere in any particular way that it's going to happen in a particular way. But I think there are building blocks to how sex occurs, how it happens, or how it's also perceived in society. And I think in Uganda, where the country is heavily religious across different sects, you realize that plays a factor to how people take on sex, especially after marriage, because the sex outside marriage and sex in marriage, they're totally different. And so because there's that aspect of being ordained, when you come in, you find everyone is held on to a particular terror, they are on a particular sport in terms of perception and views. So you come in and, like you've stated commonly, the woman is waiting, it's a man to initiate. It's more like what happens in wildlife,
Exactly.
There's an animal that wakes up every day to chase. There's another, for it to live, it wakes up to run.
To run.
So the man is almost chasing every day. And so because it happens more on that end, you realize that for a woman to ask, it turns out either weird,
Unnatural.
unusual, unnatural. Sometimes also reading the clues, because it's also going down to understand your partner. When you understand your partner, it's either a signal, because you ladies, if I could use you as the case studies that are here, the way it happens is most of your feelings are concealed, especially to your partners. You find very few women who are outspoken regards how they feel. Normally how they feel. Well, let's say he took a while to get back for dinner and maybe he didn't communicate. For you to express that, you can't tell him you did this or you did this or you did this. In that moment, sometimes it's he's used the word called rusika. Sometimes it's fast. The lady keeps quiet. Then it's until when you ask is something wrong, until the person may eventually speaks. So if you now bring sex into that particular context, how the lady is feeling or what she wants, you realize will conceal. And then in other parts of the world where we've gone, it ends up with the lady is straight to you. She'll tell you, hey, I want you, that's it. You know? And it's straight, it's that clear. So I think because of the cultural aspect and background here, just to answer your question, that plays the factor. But in my own understanding, my own view of things, it should go down to anybody, because what we're talking about here, sex, I think according to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs in psychology, sex is a basic need. It's actually termed with food and water.
Yes.
You know? So, and everyone needs that.
And I wish people got to understand that better.
Sex is a basic need.
It's a basic need.
Yes.
Basic need or human right?
No, it's not a right, it's a
And if
need.
it's a human right, then there's some writing here, some unwritten rule or format. But a basic
It's
need
a basic need for someone to
because-
function.
Yeah.
You know, on a
And
right.
if you look
agree
at
with
that hierarchy of needs, sex will come before safety, it will come before a house.
Sorry, Nino
Pure
Mwanga.
basic need.
Wanyonyi.
Yeah. One young chain. Yeah.
China na
We understand. So, Nicholas, I want to ask you something. You know, Darren was saying, you know, it's our culture, but we have been exposed. And you can see that as people are changing, even women are changing. So, I know we are talking about sex in marriage. Your wife may not be able to say what the other girls are saying outside. They are saying to you, they don't care. Some of them don't care even if they know you're married. But these days you hear a lot of girls saying, Oyo Moria. What do you feel?
saying it.
Oyalika. Yes. Girls. Not even women like us, but girls.
Yeah. First of all, I'm married to a very liberal and open-minded person that will tell me if she needs something, and then I'll act accordingly. But also, I believe we should break out of our shells, not to think, to be, curtailed by culture. These are things that, the people that are supposed to have them are supposed to have them. You understand? So we shouldn't tie whatever we think to culture. Yes, we should respect our culture, but women should be open-minded to, try and open up about these things. About that Nkulia notion, I won't comment. I beg to.
No, just let me ask Darren, right? Because your wife may be, I'm not saying she is.
Yes.
I'm saying your wife may be the type that does not initiate sex unless you ask for it. And then you go to work or somewhere, and then there's this girl who's saying, Orika, the Orika. What do you feel about such a situation? Do you say, maybe let me try to, this is a put off? Because most men say, if a woman starts chasing me, for me it is a put off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Perhaps to start with where you just stopped, again because of the background, because I think two aspects build a human being. There is the aspect of nature, who I am, exactly who I am. I'm a quiet person or whatever it is, or there's that you who you are, the natural aspect of you. And then there's the aspect of nurture.
Yeah.
And that involves the environment, it involves all these other different things. So you realize that, okay, this person is naturally quiet, but because of the environment where they are talking. So you see how nurture impacts the individual.
Yes.
So there is the aspect of nurture and nature. And I think they're all integral. That's why it's really, really integral even when you're choosing a partner. Before you even get to sex and all these things, it's integral before you even choose a partner. You've got to have a lot of that in terms of background. Because how your partner may have grown, what they may have had, what they may have seen, plays a factor to how they respond to some of the things that they encounter in terms of marriage and ultimately even in the bedroom. And I think when you hear something of that nature, it's not the first time we've had it. Some of us, we receive hundreds of comments on social media, especially in times when I used to do TV daily. And I think it's now escalated because of the penetration of social media across society. I think how social media was being used 15 years ago is not the same with how it is today. Things have moved on so fast. And so the aspect of Nkaria, Nkuria, sometimes you're wishing someone a birthday, let's say, happy birthday Nicholas, so I put Nicholas's picture on my status.
That's the first comment.
And the first question is he single? Is he this? Is she this? You know?
Yep.
All those questions keep coming up. And that's because there's a lot, someone will feel an element of accessibility to you, to another, because of social media. But also I normally say, Kampala is too small. Kampala is too small. That's another factor. We are one country that doesn't have many big cities, so we are all in one city.
We are all jammed in this one.
If someone walk up and they say, I'm looking for Nakazigo's contact, it will not take you 3-4 people without getting the contact.
True.
Absolutely.
And so that is how it is. And if you drag that and bring it into the conversation of Nkali and Kulia, it also goes to the element of accessibility. Now that someone has your contact, how accessible are you? How high is your wall, for instance? How high is your wall? If someone said, Fred in Kalia, how high is Fred's wall? Because that's the remaining determinant. And that goes down to personality, it goes down to, does he leave home satisfied? You know, many factors come in. What if he gets satisfied but he has naturally, for instance, a high libido?
And he has never experienced a woman coming onto him.
And he's never experienced that. Or also now, women outside home, away from your partner, are speaking more than your partner speaks. What if you have a soft-spoken partner?
That's,
you know, let's say your wife is soft-spoken and she's quiet. Then you're into an environment where women are speaking to you. You know, those are bold questions, and they go down to the personality.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they go down to the individual. Yeah.
Because Irene, I think there's a time, it was in many African cultures, women weren't allowed to eat chicken, they're not allowed to eat zenene, they're not allowed to eat eggs, you know, and I think the sex was lumped with that.
Not allowed to ask for sex. Even
the sex was something that in the marriage was meant for the husband. With the chicken, you can lump it with everything else, like the special meal. So for you, the woman, just as you were there to what would I say? Oh, kujula, serve. To serve the chicken, to serve the eggs, and you go back and eat something else. That is how the sex was. You come, you serve your husband, whether you've enjoyed it or not, whether you were in the mood or not, he wanted it, you serve, you step away. And I think we are going into, Darren has mentioned it, times are changing. We are going into an era where there's so many outspoken women, and I think men are interacting with them at the workplace. And I don't think it is safe for a wife to remain static at home and expose your husband to this continuous stimuli of people who are so bold. and they are brilliant women. They are also beautiful, and they are outspoken, and they go for what they want consistently. Eventually it wears even the strongest men down. For me, that is, I think, the crux of the matter when it comes to who initiates and why we want to stick to, no, it is not ladylike.
Like, so there's a time I was in a meeting and some two women hid their faces when I said it was a married people's meeting, and I said, we can initiate sex. Two women, a little older than me, hid their faces somehow. I think they said, okay.
What to say?
That's too food day. But
because they don't know even how to. It is it's unnatural. It should be natural, but in these parts of the world, we have made it unnatural.
I think if I'm to add anything to that, I think, you see, it's a two people thing. It's not a one person thing. And so, because it's a two people thing, the aspect of sex that we're talking about, because there are also people who have sex when they're alone. We also can't skip our minds over that. They get a feeling similar to what it is when they are two individuals. So, because of that it's a two people thing, I think the partner you've got really,
The dynamic of your marriage.
yes, plays a really, really strong element into that particular aspect.
That is okwagrimozi.
Yes. Okay, let's take for instance, I'm the difficult person. That's a recipe for disaster. If the man is very difficult, if a man is very hard to break down or convince.
Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
And this is a true story. You know, I get so many writings, and they are what form the columns many times.
Yes.
So this wife tells she reads something I've written about in the column about initiating sex.
Let me try.
It's going down. So she waits. They've had dinner. She didn't say much. She just went and started, like massaging his shoulders and taking needing those tense points, the stress points. And then he said, like, so if anything was to blow, like a card, he blew it out immediately. She said that is the last time I will ever even think of anything in that direction.
Okay.
But I think, Carol saying that, I think people are, like we've been saying, they're called into, thinking you can't express yourself when your children are around. I don't have a problem with touching my wife when my children are around, because it's a way of showing affection, and I want to teach them something too about, loving someone, and, yes, there will be a line that I won't cross, but, hugging her or pecking her or, massaging.
Appropriate touching.
Yes. It shouldn't be a problem, because
and very angry. and she said, so for me, whatever you're saying is
traditional man.
Very traditional.
The traditional man.
Another one actually told his wife, nayo manyira.
That was his response.
Yeah, this was in a marital bed.
So,
just because she's trying
she
to
made the first move.
yeah, and said the name manyira.
it goes back to the point I was trying to raise, that it's a two people
The
thing.
two people thing.
Because it's a two people thing, one, I believe at some point there's been a discussion about it. It's unfortunate that maybe the generations older than us, and I would use Nicholas and I, that room for flexibility hasn't been there. And because our society has been impacted heavily, the power of a mobile phone, the power of a computer, a desktop, to a laptop, to a tablet, to a mobile phone, to a smartphone, the impact of that is we've had aspects of culture erosion or culture immersion. If you notice how Valentine's Day was celebrated at the turn of the century, so the same way it is being celebrated now.
That is if they even knew about it, some people.
No, it was. If I recall, in the newspapers and TV, there would actually be a story about people who were red on the day. red and black. Sometimes even higher, going to the extent of hiring a red car. If you recall, at the turn of the century. Now, perhaps we are now a quarter into this 21st century, and things have changed so fast to the extent of it's just a delivery of flowers and that's done. I'm just giving you aspects of how society has changed. But also still here in Africa, in Uganda in particular, sex as well has changed. And it's changed because of impacts of what we take in from other parts of the world, mainly through entertainment. You know, through entertainment, music scenes, how people dress, the movies themselves, the series themselves, the language used. You know, back then, if you noticed, if there was any pornography, it was in booklet material, in physical material. These days, pornography is in broadcast material. It's in an audio, it's in a video, it's in images. You know, so and those things play a factor to how society
perceives sex and
perceives and takes on sex in particular. So you realize, and I don't want to speak for Nicholas, but realize a man like me at my age, there are rooms for flexibility on very many things with sex. Yet, let's say our parents or the generation in between our parents and us, the room for flexibility on that is really, really low. That's why there's the bit of the traditional man, and then in our generation you don't hear anybody being called a traditional man. Or they are still there.
They are
but
there.
The impact is still built by nurture. Nurture. Or me, I grew up seeing my father doing this. Or, but also, you have the mobile phones, you have all these things. So the environment plays a really, really big role in shaping either the wife you will get, or the husband you will get, or the husband you have, or the wife you have. They see many things that you're not seeing, you know, or they are reading many things. You open X. If you read 200 tweets, there will be something to either to do with the husband or a wife or intimacy. Between the news and all these things, or both, whatever. It is a catalog. And someone reads something and like, maybe I should try this. And it is impacting the kind of conversation that we're having here. So it goes to the room of flexibility with the partner you also have. If someone is really, really, really rigid and can't change, you break them. So you need to know your partner as well.
Because even I think the tradition may not even be on the man's side alone. There are also some women that are extremely traditional. So whatever her husband may want, she'll be stuck to her guns that no, if he doesn't say it, and I have to be chaste for him to get it on top of everything else. Like it's not about him even asking. He asks, and then the chest starts every single day, every single night in that marriage, because that is how she was nurtured.
Yeah, but I think, Carol, that's right. But you know, you have to know your partner, but also find a way to break that stereotype and, you know, initiate them mpola into something new. Because yes, there will be tradition and sit back and say, this is not what I want to try, but it comes with you trying to convince them over and over again. We can change things. This is boring. Maybe if we tried this, and maybe try to expose her or him to so many other material that can, you know, make them feel okay. Since there's even other people are doing it.
And I think the way women have been nurtured to initiate also sex without being inappropriate is you know, brings so many things to question. There are women who still believe you have to be extremely quarrelsome and nagging and
like get the attention.
Yes, you get the attention by a hook or crook. And when
Carol has said what I was going to
when
say.
all you want to say is, honey,
Can I?
But then they go through these circles and
Exactly. I was going to tell you something, that there are some women, their way of initiating sex is by going to report to the priest and say, I need to speak to my husband. Then the husband comes, and then you see, we have come here because my husband is not touching me.
Do you see the challenge in communication?
The
Yeah.
communication is always
Because
key.
by the time you go to someone else, it
There's
means
been
there's
a-
either breakdown or there's a gap in communication.
Because I think that was even the first podcast we tackled. That's the subject we went into first. The communication. People don't talk about sex, Darren. They don't talk about sex. Couples don't talk about sex. You'll be shocked.
They don't.
just, even in marriages, they just do it.
But they don't talk
You
about
just
it.
accidentally find yourself.
Communication is a very integral part in any relationship, because if you don't listen or talk back to your person or listen to them or something, everything else breaks down. You see, sometimes we'll be put off by so many other factors. It could be financial, and you can't perform because your finances are not in the right direction, and but if you don't talk to your partner to maybe try to understand you in that way, everything else will. So communication is something very, very, very important for us to put at the forefront of everything we do, and sex also requires the same.
Yeah, and it's weird if people have been aware that at a particular stage, like the initiation, I think we're at the point of initiation, who initiates. The communication is either one-ended. For one person, it's maybe verbal. For the other person, it's non-verbal. I think again goes back to the elements of flexibility. Flexibility, being flexible. Yes, it's ordained, it's sacred. In our society, in other parts of the world, things have changed. Things have changed.
But let's
even here among younger people in communities, when you speak to them, it's totally different.
they're not
from
the
how
typical
people have
young
been
person
raised.
you
Yeah.
know. Yes.
If someone is 18, 25, the way they've been raised in this kind of environment I'm talking about, the nurture is totally different. So they will tell you things that you never thought you'd be able to say at the ages that they are. So
Okay.
really, really critical.
I wanted us to also have a small discussion around our physical build, because women are not built like men. It's easy for me to understand that my husband wants sex. It's much easier for me to understand because of the way men are created than for you to understand when your wife wants sex. Am I right?
I think you're right. I'm not a man, but I agree entirely.
Because we can see that you're really
Yes.
focused to what to club.
Yeah, but also I think you can tell when a woman wants.
Just go there. You're not worried. I mean, some people need to
the
know.
only thing, because I think we all know it's universal. There's a time in a woman's cycle when she will be really, really in need of sex, especially when she's ovulating, and those are about 4 to 6 days. They could be less. But if you're a woman who doesn't know how to communicate and ask, to ask your husband for that relief or for sex, then you'll find yourself in the rest of the cycle when things need to be that is when the sex happens in your marriage. And for me, that is the problem. Like when I write the column, I'm very concerned about it's not just sex happening, but what quality of sex. So if you're a woman who never says, because like you say, the man you can tell that it's a good day to approach there'll be signs, physical and everything, you can tell, because we have also been wired that way.
Yes.
But for women, it is you who knows, unless your husband put a chart somewhere, your flow chart, and says now she's okay. Women, we are the ones who intimately know our bodies. There will be no outward signs unless you're like what an animal that goes on rampage to show that now mating season. We are not like that.
But to your partner, you can show signs. There will be telltale signs.
There will be telltale signs.
But if that's the partner is taking the time to try and learn those signs,
to decode those signs, and maybe you're even intimate and you have good communication. But for majority, you just see her going into some funk. I say, Madam Abadichi. because but it's just that time of month, and she just doesn't know because she was not programmed to speak these things out. So she just doesn't know what to do with herself, and she becomes rude, she becomes this, when all she wants to do is
She starts sulking.
to say, can we go and talk better. Or like the other one, I think it was like because she told me, she said it was a good time of month. I was ovulating. My husband hadn't touched me in days, so I said no. When I gave him a shoulder rub, because a shoulder rub, And she said indeed nothing happened because he was very angry with her even later. So nothing happened even the other day, and then when he came around, it was she was now bored. The time for pink elephants had long passed.
Because
so I think
it was the wrong timing.
Yeah. I just encourage women when you want to speak. I hope marriages cultivate that intimacy and that communication and that perfect dynamic that allows you to read each other perfectly and to hear each other's bodies well.
Okay. So what about, there's that time, I wanted to ask the men, there's a time when you feel the times are good, and whether she's initiating or not, there's this frequency you feel that because you people are young husbands, there's this sex that happens all the time. Sometimes you leave Observer to just go home and do something.
Is it true?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What? When the marriages are new. So when are you going to do that? I mean,
She leaves you.
no, I'm just...
I feel attacked, but
I'm sorry, I was just giving
No,
an
it's
example.
okay.
But yeah. Okay, maybe Fred lives someplace. I'm talking about another person, not Nicholas Sadu and Darren. But yes, there's that time. And the young wives especially feel like, okay, what did I get myself into? But now there are also marriages happening much later. Older women are getting married, older men are getting married, and it doesn't matter to who, but people are actually getting married at later stages. And whatever we do, every marriage must go through that season. Whether I am 59 and my husband is 70 or what, we go through that season because we've just met. Yes, tuli bakadde, like everybody says, but we are new to each other. So whether even for the younger people, there's that time when you initiate and initiate and initiate. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation around there. Why am I the only one doing it? Because there are some marriages where it is only the wife who is initiating. Yes, we are all exposed now, but think about it. Let us say something around there. Is there some kind of fatigue in the sex? Every time it is you who comes around. See who's,
Who leaves the workplace?
You know what they are saying? Who leaves the workplace? Who says, please come here, I want this. Let's have a conversation around there.
Good question. Let's take it first.
please go first. After you.
Darren, you go first too.
Would you call it a honeymoon phase?
Yeah, I think that's the
It can be the
honeymoon.
Like a
honeymoon.
honeymoon phase?
Yes.
I think the durations are relative to the strength of the ingredient between you two people. For some people it takes longer. For some people it takes a short time. And then for some other people, how to put it is, there will always be this kind of thing. Just the wavelength. I normally use it and I tell someone, you must have so many connecting points. You see, even if it's like this and another is like this, one could be rapid like this and another is like this, but you just need to find those connecting points as much as possible. Otherwise, if you begin to lose the connecting points and one goes down and other is up, or it becomes parallel, you're like this, you have no connecting points, it begins to fade. It begins to fade. And because I said it's a two people thing, the effort on one end must be felt on the other end. If it's like someone, you're trying to push something, or if one end is pulling and the other is not pulling, you're going to pull and go with it. But there is always that tension. It has to be having that tension. The aspect of elasticity in my little physics has to keep there.
You keep things interesting.
Yeah, so that you don't reach the elastic limit. When you get to the breaking point, that's it. And for me, I believe it's the best gift that's given to the people who are married. So if there are going to be moments where it's a low tide. There will be moments when it's a high tide. But the truth is, how it happens in the beginning, very few people sustain it onwards in life. One, because of age. Two, familiarity.
And the hustle.
Yes. The hustle, because
the hustle can take over everything.
Most cases, if you were single, you are doing your things alone, you're doing all these things. And then now it changes. Kids come into the picture. They have a significant impact on women. Men have this kind of leeway, especially in our society here in Africa, that you still have a bit of, I would say, an extra freedom in terms of fitting into society. When you give birth to kids, yes, you're a father, but the mother has much more responsibility because of that natural role that they play to the offspring. And this even goes beyond human beings, even animals, And so when children come into the picture, you see how that honeymoon, whatever happened in honeymoon, continues to consistently fade, because you've given an example of the lady who touched the husband's neck. So the moments before, when the children were not there, imagine if exactly, you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So those things begin to size down on all that. But maybe what I would say is the honeymoon never lasts long. Number two, you have got to be creative.
Who?
Both of you. This doesn't matter. For instance, the women put on lingerie. Okay? That works for men. Okay, some men it doesn't work. Some men are just down to a good smell and that's it. So when you understand, are they the love languages? They all play a factor into this bit, into sex, and that honeymoon phase, to recover, pick bits of it. You can only try to recreate bits of it by putting in effort outside sex. The honeymoon phase, have you had lunch? Even normal communication. Have you eaten? Are you okay? How far? When you grow older with a person.
Actually, in terms of sex for women, it's initiated hours before.
Yes.
There's that time that you're supposed to marinate them. She's at work, send her a text, have you had lunch or something like that. Call, give them a call and say, whisper sweet nothings in their ears. Then it will sound a signal back home, and by the time she comes back home, she already knows this.
She's prepared
yes,
mentally.
She's prepared.
Which is very important.
Yes, there will be times when it gets boring, but like Darren says, creativity shouldn't fade away. You have to keep initiating things. You have to keep, chipping in on so many occasions to try and, reignite the spark.
And reaffirming her.
Yes.
When we have your babies, I'm saying we're having your babies, but when women have babies for their husbands, the bodies change.
Yeah. And there's a bit of insecurity.
Yes, and there's a bit of insecurity that creeps in, and that can also stop her from ever initiating anything, even if she has done it in the past. So, but if that reaffirmation, like Nicola says, you've marinated her and you tell her all the time she's beautiful, it makes life easier for her to also start saying, let me go for what I want. But because many men are stuck in their tradition, even when he talks about your body, he's saying, I'll get sick, I'll get them.
But of course,
Actually, that is a total turn off.
You're not helping matters.
Many women don't want to be told things to do with their weight.
Yeah.
yeah, bambagamba
You find a
naye
way
bana
to-
bakukoza used
Abaana
to be
bakunywa,
nice
and that is what your
fleshy
husband
abana
will never
bakunywedde
say.
mukazi wa
And maybe the other
Stop
thing,
it, you're initiating
the other
anything.
thing I would add, and maybe some men have felt it, maybe it's a topic for a discussion on another day, will be on the element of a bit of this heart for this lady going to the children. And a man also at the back of his mind saying, you know what, let me take a back seat so these children are able to. So that's why I don't know whether it's an unwritten rule where they say if you survive the first 5 years of marriage, then you're good.
You're good
Because
to go.
chances are the firstborn,
Comes within
the
the
impact
first 2
of the
years.
firstborn on the man in the marriage is huge. These are unwritten things.
More so if she's a girl.
Is huge. So you realize you've got to give a bit of your heart. Now, it's not only your heart and love, but the time as well. So where it would be, you remember the honeymoon phase was, it's us.
Just the
It's
two of
us.
us,
It's us. You know, it's us. But now there are other elements involved. You have children. You have these
businesses.
businesses. Sometimes the responsibilities are more, but also the familiarity. That's why to break the monotony, because you're a person you're living with until death does you
Heart.
apart. You know, you've got to find creative ways, and it goes back to understanding the other party.
So that is why we have to work on the marriages.
Absolutely.
Marriages don't just stay the way they are. We have to work on them.
Absolutely.
Actually, there's a time Carol wrote in Sex Talk that sometimes the man will be down when the woman is, and sometimes the wife will be down and the husband will be high.
So
remember to carry
strike
each
a
other's
balance.
hand, and then, you know. So we shall end it here for today, and then we think about what to say to everybody who thinks what we are saying is actually wrong, but everybody can initiate sex, both men and women. So don't be there and say, Omanyira, the kabana. Yes, thank you very much for being at The Observer.